Okay, guys, if you're looking at the board and you're going, she went from 5.4 to 5.6, that is not error. We talked in class, we are not doing 5.5. I don't see how it will help you. I think it will confuse you. We can skip it all together. When it comes to your test, you have instructions about that part, so we're not going to stress about it. We're moving straight directly to 5.6, which is the quadratic formula and the discriminant. We're on page 291. And again, you've done this last year. You should have done it if you did it with me or not with me. Quadratic formula says that any solution of a quadratic equation can be solved by using this formula. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. All of it divided by 2a. A lot of you last year made this mistake and put negative b and then divided only this by 2a. Remember, the whole thing is divided by 2a, okay? Now, if you remember, if you're wondering where do a, b, and c come from, this is a quadratic equation. A is x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, right? So it's the number, a is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, c is the number that does not have an x. Let's try and solve one. And if you remember, we said in order, as soon as you hear the word solve, it has to equal 0. So I need to move my 5 on the other side. I get 2x squared plus x. How do I move it? By minusing it, equals 0. I'm good. And I made you do this last year. I'm going to make you do this here. Again, a is 2. Please write them down. B is 1. How do I know that? There's no number in front of it. I can put a 1. C is negative 5. Why do I need this? Because now I can very confidently plug them in here because I know they're defined. X equals negative b, negative 1, plus or minus square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5. Please always use parentheses when you plug them in. All over 2 times a, or 2 times 2. And we get to do beautiful math here. This becomes negative 1 plus or minus square root of 1, because 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 2, negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 5, positive 40. All over 2 times 2, which is 4. Or this becomes 1 plus or minus square root of 41 over 4. Now, you have this in the book separated in two solutions, which is 1 plus square root of 41 over 4, and then 1 minus square root of 41. I lost the negative in front of the 1 over 4, and you can get the decimal solution from it if you want to. If you just stop here, for me is enough, okay? If you just give me this number and it's correct, I don't need you to give me the decimal values of it, okay? To have it check it by graphing it on your calculator, I don't need you to check it. I just need you to apply this correctly, okay? Let's try another one. We're going to do a few of these. I'm not doing them all because we're going to go bananas. But I do need you to know that some of them might have solutions that exist or don't exist. Let's try this. X squared minus x equals 5x minus 9. Again, before to solve it, we have to equal it to 0. Minus 5x plus 9, minus 5x plus 9, right? That's gone. I get x squared. Negative x minus 5x, negative 6x plus 9 equals 0. We're going to do the quadratic. A equals 1. There's nothing. B equals negative 6. C equals 9. Let's go ahead and do this. X equals negative 6, because it's negative b. That negative is not this negative. Plus or minus square root of negative 6 squared plus, minus 4 times 1 times 9, all over 2 times 1, because a is 1. Let's go ahead and solve this. Negative 6 becomes a 6, plus or minus square root of 6 squared is negative 6 squared is 36, minus negative 4 times 1, negative 4 times 9, negative 36, all over 2. Negative 36 minus 36 is 0. I end up with 6 over 2, which is 3. Have you noticed how all of a sudden I only have one solution? The other one had two solutions. Have you noticed that when this became 0, I only had one solution, x equals 3. If you would graph it, you would see that it only touches at x equals 3. We're going to do one more. That's going to deal with complex numbers because we just learned about them. Negative x squared plus 2x, negative x squared plus 2x equals 2. I'm going to move my 2 on the other side. I'm going to just minus in it, equals 0. I need space. A equals negative 1, right? B equals 2. C equals negative 2. Remember, you always keep them with their signs, right? X equals, big fraction line, negative 2 plus or minus square root of 2 squared minus 4 minus negative 1 minus negative 2, right? Times negative 1 times 2, that's my C, all over 2 times negative 1. This becomes negative 2 plus or minus square root of, let's see what we get here, 4. This is positive 4 times 2, negative 8, correct? 4 minus 8, all over negative 2. This becomes negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 4 over negative 2. That's going to be a little bit more complicated, but not hard. Complex numbers. As soon as we see that negative, this becomes negative 2 plus or minus I. What is square root of 4? 2. Right? All divided by negative 2. And believe it or not, we can now actually do this the right way. I have a 2, a 2, and a 2. Okay, and to write this, let's rewrite this so you don't get confused. Negative 2 plus or minus 2i, all divided by negative 2, right? I have a 2, and another 2. I can get rid of them, all of them, and this becomes negative, this becomes 1 plus or minus I as a solution. Why is it 1 plus or minus y? Negative 2 divided by negative 2 gives me a 1. And plus and minus won't change. It will stay the same, right? But this, because it's a negative divided by negative, I get a 1. Just 2 divided by 2, I get a plus or minus I. So right now we got before we had a 1 solution. Now we don't have any real solutions. Our solutions are imaginary. The first example we had 2 solutions, and they were both real, right? There's a reason because of that, and we talked about this last year. We said that the number underneath the square root, this expression, b squared minus 4ac, is called the discriminant. I don't have enough space. And here's what we know. If this number is greater than 0, then I get 2 solutions. If this number is equal to 0, then I get 1 solution. Actually, let's put this correctly. 2 real solutions. If it's 0, I get 1 real solution. And if it's less than 0, I get 2 imaginary solutions and no real solution. Okay? Now, we're on the bottom of page 293. They're going to just tell you, don't solve it. Just tell me how many solutions I have. Let's look at them. X squared minus 6x, is it plus 10? Equals 0. If you have to tell how many solutions something has, all you have to do is find the discriminant. You don't have to work the whole thing. You just have to know my A is 1, my B is negative 6, my C is 10. I need to find that. What is negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 10? That's all I need to know. And see if it's positive, 0, or negative. This becomes 36 minus 40. This is negative 4. I get a negative 4. That's less than 0. This one has 2 imaginary solutions. Okay? You don't have to solve them. You don't have to do anything. You just have to tell them how many and what are the types. In the book, they tell you the solution, but they're not asking you to solve for it. Let's look at the second one. The second one is x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. We already solved this, an example before. A is 1, B is negative 6, C is 9. I get negative 6 all squared minus 4 times 1 times 9. This is 36 minus 36 is 0. I get 1 real solution, right? My discriminant is 0. I get 1 real solution. The last one you can guess, it's going to be 2 real solutions. X squared minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. A is 1, B is negative 6, C is 8. My discriminant is, let me do it here, negative 6, squared minus 4 times 1 times 8. This is 36 minus 32, which is 4. 4 is greater than 0. I get 2 real solutions. So when they tell me how many and what type of solutions, don't solve it. All you have to do is find this value, b squared minus 4ac, and then decide, is it greater than 0? I get 2 real solutions. Is it 0? I get 1 real solution. It is less than 0. I get 2 imaginary solutions. The last thing we're looking at are word problems before we're done with this wonderful work. And believe it or not, we're back to that formula. H squared equals negative 16 t squared plus h0. Remember that? The height. Well, the first one, this is the formula that's whenever it was dropped. When we're talking about something that's been thrown or launched, we have one more thing. We have plus v0t plus h0. And v0 is your velocity, right? If you look at page 294, all of it explains it to you. H is your height, t is your time in motion, and that's in seconds. h0 is initial height, and v is the initial velocity. Everything will be given to you. You're probably solving for either h or t. This is not h squared, guys. It's just h. Let's look at example 5 and then we're done. It says the baton twirler tosses a baton in the air. The baton leaves the twirler hand 6 feet above the ground. So h0 is 6. That's my initial height, correct? It has an initial velocity of 45 feet per second. My v0 is 45. The twirler catches the baton when it falls back at a height of 5 feet. My h is 5. You can guess. We have this one, we have this one, we have this one. We want to know after how long did the baton come down. I didn't even read, but yeah, for how long is the baton in the air? We're solving this. So let's go ahead and solve this, but for my sake, I always do it like this. I move that h in the back because I like it to have it where it equals something. So I get negative 16 t squared, that's what we're solving for, plus 45 t. Why? My velocity is 45. Plus 6 equals 5, correct? That's where we are. We plugged everything in. We're solving for t. We're going to definitely use a calculator for this. But first, we're moving on the 5 on the other side. This becomes 1. This becomes 0. Why? 6 minus 5 is 1. 5 minus 5 is 0. So, A, negative 16. B, 45. C, 1. X equals negative 45 plus or minus square root of 45 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 1. All of it divided by 2 times negative 16. Now, this is where a calculator is going to become our best friend. Remember, we can do all of this in one move in my calculator. I'm going to go ahead and go second square root. There's my square root sign. And I'm going to do 45 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 1. It looks like this. Please remember, minus 4 is minus. Negative 16, you need a negative sign. And then I close my other parenthesis because I started with a parenthesis, right? And then I hit enter. And that's what I get. I get 45.71. I'm going to keep it that way because I don't want to mess with it. Well, let's not put on the square root because we want to keep the correction thing together. Minus 16 times 1. Never mind. I just put it without the square root. I get 2089. So this becomes negative 45 plus or minus square root of 2089 all over negative 32. You can do this in a calculator if you want to. And now I need both solutions out. So one of them is going to be negative 45 plus square root of 2089 over negative 32. The other one is negative 45 minus square root of 2089 over negative 32. And believe it or not, we actually have to solve this. So I'm going to put the top in there. Negative 45 plus square root of 2089. Negative 45 plus square root of 2089. Just like this. I hit enter. I divide that by negative 16. And here's the problem. We get a negative number. It doesn't matter what it is, but we're going to write it down. I get this one is negative 0.4044. I'm going to do the other one. Negative 45 minus square root of 2, 0.89. I get negative 90 point something. I divide that by negative 16 and I get 5.66. Right? No, 67. Now, real life solutions, can something be in the air for a negative 0.044 seconds? No, only the positive solution stays. That's why I'm saying you have to work both of them to get the positive solution out. And that's about all we did in 5.6. Happy homework.